Howdy, howdy, everybody. We are getting so close to global release. So I sat down and I've been working on a few tier lists. I was going to do a bunch of them, but I'm like, let's just get some of the most important things out the way first. So we're going to start off with the mid to late game. Honestly, going into the mid game, you really don't change much. And you can be conservative and work on your gear because we got a lot of heroes to go over. All right, in this one, we are going to go F2P, so everything that you can possibly get for free. And I stress the part about possibly because some of these, like my dude here, the green Laphis, is ridiculously expensive to get. And since I can't play on emulator, I'm really not able to show everything. But we're gonna make this work as best as you can. But you need 3 million renown to get him in the completion of hard difficulty. So you can't use him until extreme. But 3 million renown, that's like $400+ spent. Grant, you can farm it. It just will take a long time. You probably be done with the game by then, and more likely you'll want to use your renown in other places. But he is kind of brokenly powerful, and this is why I put him in the first slot, just because of third his third skill, which is his burst that attacks all enemies as the target health increases. The damage up to 5 times is added and increases the defense for 2 turns. In all actuality, he is great for boss fights just because bosses have higher HP. So once you get into extreme, with the bosses have extremely high HP, he is surely going to be a powerhouse to have. Everybody in the S tier is pretty much broken down by their usability. You'll see we have the red Vanessa in here just because of her ability to protect you in the team, as well as the red Joshua, who also has a supportive ability that can protect and keep you alive. The dark Durando, the light Olivia, the red Aleph, and the green Astrid. All of them are in here because they have ignore defense on their burst. All of them have a burst skill that ignore defense, and ignore defense in this game is really powerful. So any hero with ignore defense, they decimate it. Then we have Chrome I put in here personally because right now on my main account I am at the final boss on extreme, and like he's so fast to the point where I had to speed up my Chrome because like even when I boost my team, he still just takes a turn and just like destroy my team. So I had to speed up my Chrome. My Chrome is over 230, 240 speed now. Yeah, over 230 speed now. He's faster. He's able to get my team in front of him, and I'm literally have to use 2 turn bar boosters just to even make sure my whole team moves. So even having my red Vanessa slower than the rest of the team is kind of not good. I was actually thinking about moving her in between my team so she can make everybody invincible. So when the boss cuts in between us because his turn bar pushes if you attack him, that everyone will be protected. And he completely just one shots everything. So it's hard to even like get past 1 turn, and I'm looking at trying to maybe burst him down with ignore defense in one shot, but even getting past the waves is kind of difficult in its own right. So something I'm gonna have to figure out in strategy wise to actually complete the final boss for extreme. But I definitely got him at S tier because there's no way I'm touching that boss without him. So that's why he there. A tier is literally all the heroes that is going to be great, probably in extreme. I want to say, extreme because you notice in some of my other tier lists, like the blue Schneider really is not up there. And let me actually pull up. Mostly is because he has his spin attack, which attacks all enemies, 80% chance to reduce their action gauge by 15%. and attacks the selected enemy feels the user's action gauge by 50%, and that's his burst. But mostly the second one by hitting everything and reducing their action gauge. Now, I'm even like it wasn't as bad until the actual final fight in the boss. I can see him as being a decent option of just reducing the action gauges if you're not able to one shot the waves, because that probably would be an issue, and I don't like to waste all of my skill twos. So having something that can reduce action gauge and we just skill one our way through is actually pretty strong. So this is why I put him in A tier here. A lot of other ones will kind of get in there too. I'm thinking of actually bringing the Green Charlotte back into my team comp because her shield for her heal for off her health is like extremely strong, and I see it scales pretty well late game. I have to 6-star her, of course, and also ascend her and everything. It start to scale a little bit better. She doesn't have a lot of HP, but if you just stack HP on her, I can see her just being a powerhouse and keeping your team alive by having above 20,000 HP for everybody in shield protection. Something like that. Something like that. Of course, making sure you 3-star stages by having the blue Vanessa, dark Helga, who I think is extremely strong. I believe you get her, yeah, after completing her difficulty. And she's not exactly expensive. She could be one of the ones you pick up soon as you need 300,000 renown. I mean, as much as you will need to ascend something, but yeah, she'll be a good one just because she has her Dragon Fury, which is her burst that attacks all enemies, gain an extra turn if the enemy dies. More than one turn can't get, but the fact that she can get extra turns. The same, yeah, her basic attack, which also if you kill something, you can get an extra turn. Like I really like that on the green Astrid. When I play on one of my alternate accounts, it's definitely going to be really good to use with the Dark Helga for late game progression. Just something that you would like to look into. Being able to get extra turns after killing on extreme is great because everything scales high and you'll have all these squishy DPS. Because at this point, you'll start getting your DPS up. You're going to have a bunch of 6-stars. You're going to do a lot of damage. But then everything's not going to be on par yet. You might have one or two things that's built relatively well. So it's like, it gets difficult. I had to go back to healing and everything because I couldn't just burst my way through like I wanted to through a lot of the stages, and I was stuck in extreme just because I needed protection, and my team was just dying because we just didn't have enough burst. So having skills like that is great. For our blue Lumi, and I had just got her. I believe she's one of the contracts, if I'm correct. She's one of the contracts that I got. She has two AoEs on her burst and on her second that reduce action gauges, which is great. Once again, reducing action gauge is going to be great for the late game scenario. So something to look into. Of course, we got Blue Helga in here because you've already been using her and she's really great to use. We have extra attack gauge reduction, and you'll notice that a lot of the A tier is based off of attack gauge reduction for the most part. They either got some form of it or there's something that was already great to have in the game at that point in time. The Blue 9 you get from the guild shop, so you need, I believe, 150,000 of the guild shop points to get him. But he's practically a bruiser. He can provoke everything. He can self heal off of attacks, gives himself shields. So he has some form of protection, which will be great in boss fights. So that's why I slapped him in there. Red Schneider, I've been using him for a long time. I don't use him as much now because I've been building and trying out different things, but he does got some DPS. He can, like, the more you put into his DPS, the better he can heal himself. He has high base HP, so you can get some good HP on him. Ray I use, she comes out of the first contract you get. She's not exactly the one I recommend, but she is pretty powerful. And since she has a burst skill and her second skill that does AoE, she can get rid of things. And I like her because I try to make her fast, like to go after my turn bar boosters, so she can skill 1, apply defense brick, so my dealers can just do as much damage as they can possible, especially once I use Arslan with her. But he's paid. Then I picked up the Dark Knight. He's my main dealer that I use. He does a lot of sap damage. He's real strong. Sap damage is great for bosses as well. He has a lot of AoE. He clear waves real well for me. He just a real overall solid damage dealer. Doesn't quite make S tier, even though I love him and I will just want to put him in there because I want to, but honestly, he doesn't have ignore defense, and ignore defense is broken. So unfortunately, he can't make that cut. You have the Fire Chrome, which I'm pulling up now. I'm not sure what Wither is as of yet, but he does have a 10% chance to ignore defense on his first, so I guess a bit of a chance to do some extra damage. He can boost his attack power, crit rate, and crit damage, which is also good. It gives him an extra turn, but more turns can't be added. Then he has another one where his burst, where he attacks all enemies, gain an extra turn if things die. I just think that that's just solid, especially once you get to you get your Lord Hero to level 20 and you get the burst formation. Once you get that burst formation, a hero like him will be insane, honestly. Hero like him who will be devastating to have in your team. So once you capable of doing that contract, that's something you might want to keep in mind. Then we got the green Ray, which said first when she attacks the selected enemy, increases her crit hit damage. She get 5 stacks of 10% for the crit hit damage. I'm not even talking about skill ups for all these things, because skill ups can be a different thing as well for a lot of these heroes, but we're not going to get into that right now. Her second skill attacks all enemies, increases her crit hit rate for 2 turns. So she's pretty much self-buffing all her strengths and everything. Once again, solid dealer that she can be. So her burst attacks all enemies, 100% chance to increase the user's attack power. So she pretty much gives herself all the buffs she needs to deal damage. So I take it she's going to be a really strong damage dealer, but since she doesn't have ignore defense, she definitely doesn't make S tier. But A tier, she got that. She got that. I give her that. She's pretty solid there. And even though there is ignore defense on the green Basilica, the only reason she's not an S tier is it's not on her burst. It's on her second skill. So you have a nice little cooldown before you get it up. But once you skill her up, she's going to be solid. And I use her a lot as my main dealer on my main alternate account. Because I got a few accounts, but my main alternate account, I use her as my main dealer. And oh my god. She destroys things and she can take down some bosses. I mean, she's single target dealer, but she can take down some bosses. We got the red Helga in here because she has AoE Death Break. She has a Provoke, I believe, on first skill. Her burst has a 50% chance for an AoE stun. AoE stun isn't too bad. I don't think she's the best progression out there. I really want to build her because I have her, but I just don't have her leveled up and built. I want to build her for the AoE death break so I can take that into PvP and do things there. But I think she's a solid A tier in progression just because she'll be able to dish out some decent damage and give you a AoE death break. So you can do a little bit more damage. Of course, the green Olivia is solid. Some of you probably already built her, start using her after the 7 days. Her first skill, pushing those turn bars back, give your team a chance to get some things going. As in, like some of my other videos, I didn't really recommend having turn bar manipulators in your team in the early game, but once you get into the mid and late game, it's not as bad to have. And it's actually something that I recommend more. Johan's great for your early and your mid game. I think he falls off a bit in the late game. I really haven't got a chance to fully see what the late game is like using him, but I just don't think he gets the same value just because things can burst you down really fast. Unless you build him as a pure tank, like building him as a hybrid, bruiser, Like if you don't got enough HP and defense, he would just die from trying to provoke things. But he's still overall solid unit and a great dealer. Blue Olivia, we got her pulled up. Her first skill, she can attack to select an enemy, heals herself proportionate to the damage. If she crits, attacks all enemy on the second one. She has a 50% chance to reduce enemies' defense. So she's another one that can burst down defense. It's just she costs 6K and the red Helga costs 3K. So that's the big difference. She's a 4-star, the other one's a 3-star. Then her burst attacks to select an enemy, increase the user's attack power for 2 turns. So she get a little bit of something. I think she'll be solid coming along towards the late game. I don't think she's bad because she costs gems to get, and everything in this game is decent. She's just not the most important. She might even be slightly a B tier, but I put her in A just because of the AoE death break. All right. Whew, running out of time. Let's get through B tier. Okay, B tier is pretty much because they don't provide much and everything else do a little bit more. I actually got the blue Basilica as my first contract out of the contract that she was in, and I haven't fully tested her out. I haven't fully tested her out, but I read the skills a million times, and then I read them again, and I'm just like, man, she doesn't really sound that impressive. Like attacks to select an enemy, reduce the attack power, which is great. I like that. She can remove all buffs on enemies. We're not in a point in this game where we need an AoE strip, so she's gonna be really great once we get to that point. Maybe PvP wise, I think she'll be solid to shut down a defense or have her own defense to shut down an attack. I think she'll be great there, but as far as progression go, I just don't think she fits the cut. I had to redo my tier list just because of the green Walter, and he was the first out of the contract that he was in, but it's his burst that gives him the turn bar boost. But he has an AoE provoke. I use him on defense. I think he's pretty decent on defense. I'll have him fast so he can move first, and he go in there provoke everybody. Then they can't do nothing but attack him first, and then the rest of the team moves. I think he's solid that way. But as further as progression go, I kind of got him confused with Chrome. If you don't have Chrome, you kind of made a mistake. Chrome is definitely important to have. Whew, this was a long one. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do the other tier list in the same video. That's why I didn't mention it, but we're going to end it here. This is my little thought process. I mean, if you agree, disagree, leave that down in the comment section below. I like to hear your thoughts as we approach the global release. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. So if you liked the video, make sure you smash that like button. If you didn't, there is a button for you guys as well. Link to the Discord. Well, we've been having more people join. I like you guys to actually, come in and chat and say a few things. I might not reply right away, but when I do get a chance, I like to talk to you. And subscribe if you're new here. Turn those post notifications on so you can see my content when it goes live. And this is your host, Gamer Dude 2088, and I will see you in the next tier list video because I'm recording that one right after this one. Deuces.